Muy buenos días a Costa Rica. You can see the Miravalles mountain in the background there. Hopefully it will not blow today. It's a volcano, un volcán. All right. So we're here. Today we're going to review chapters 1 through 5 of Portales. All right. So you see on the screen, okay, chapter 1, we're going to look at articles, nouns, numbers, ser, and the uses. That's all we're going to do today. And then we'll cover chapter 2, 3, 4, and 5 at a later date. And they'll be posted as well. There's also in the YouTube chapters 1 to 6 review. But this is a little shorter and a little more to the point. Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into this, okay? All right, so definite articles, all right? You have el and la and los and las. That's pretty simple, all right? All nouns are either masculine or feminine. There are few exceptions, like la mano, the hand, yes, el mapa, the map, where the la doesn't match the o at the end of the word, or the l doesn't match the a at the end of the word, okay? Because your masculine nouns generally end in o, and your feminine nouns generally end in a, or dad, or ion. So, gender. Gender is important in Spanish because it comes from the Latin. And in the Latin, we had a masculine and a feminine. All nouns are either masculine or feminine. So when you describe a noun as red or black or blue or green or tall or short or fat or skinny, okay, you have to identify the noun and it must agree with the adjective, or the adjective must agree with the noun. And I've just put up here a simple falda. If it's a falda, it's going to be falda roja, okay, or falda amarilla, okay. But if it's a masculine, if it's a red book, it's a el libro rojo. But we're going to talk more about that in chapter 3, okay. And there's also the plural and the indefinite article, okay. So el, la, the. We have 4 thes, okay? The boy, the boys, the girl, the girls. 4 thes in Spanish, but only 1 the in English. So, as you look at the screen, yes, you see el hombre, and you see el chico, and you see el conductor, and you see el turista. Those are masculine. In the case of pasajero, you see in the middle there, el pasajero, you know it's a male passenger because it ends in an O, and it has an L with it. But you move over to the right-hand side, and you see the la, the feminine nouns. And so the adjective is going to change, okay? When you've got la chica, and if she's a beautiful girl, hermosa, and she's a la chica hermosa. That's why I said that the adjective is very important. And the gender is very important. So, looking down that right-hand side list, you've got la mujer, la chica, la pasajera, which tells you it's a female passenger. La conductora, which tells you it's a female driver. La profesora, the same, and la turista, it's a feminine tourist. Nouns that refer to non-living things. We had living things, now we have non-living things. And you see el cuaderno on the left-hand side, it's an L that tells you it's masculine, and it ends in an O, just like we said about el pasajero. On the right-hand side, you see la computadora, and the la is telling you that it's a feminine word, computadora, because it ends in an A. But let's run down the left-hand side quickly for the masculine. El diario, el diccionario, el número. Moving down, el problema. Ah, so there's some different ones. Yes, you have the MA words, el problema, el programa. There's also el clima and el sistema, but we're not going to get into those now. So there's some oddballs. And then finally, you see el autobús and el país. On the right-hand side are your feminine words. La computadora, la cosa, la escuela, la maleta, la palabra, la lección, la conversación. All your ION words in Spanish end in T-I-O-N in English. Let that sink in just a moment if you've forgotten it from day one. Ending in D-A-D, same thing. Feminine words. La nacionalidad. La comunidad. How do you say society? Sociedad. How do you say personality? La personalidad. So, moving along. All right. There are also plurals. We see el diccionario, and then there's the los, which is the plural masculine, and la computadora and las computadoras, which is the plural feminine. So that's important because you have el pasajero, which we mentioned, and la pasajera, and then you'd have los pasajeros and las pasajeras. If it was just a bus full of girls, it would be las pasajeras. Great. So without further ado, let's move into indefinite articles. So you see the singular, un pasajero, and the plural masculine, unos pasajeros. And of course you got the feminine equivalent, una fotografía. But if you've got some photographs in your album, it's unas fotografías. Moving on then to numbers. Okay. Oh, got a call. Una llamada telefónica. Hola, dígame. Oh, sí. La playa. Oh, María, sí. ¿Qué hora es? Ah, muy bien. Es tarde. Ay, ok. Enseguida vengo. Ok, adiós. I'm sorry. I will see you in a few minutes at the beach. Buenos días otra vez, estamos aquí en la playa. Okay, la playa del Océano Pacífico. Yes, my boat is out there in the harbor, you can see it. Yes, it's the small one. Yes, okay. And we've got Jose on the beach with his wife Maria. She just called me, she said, don't forget you're going to meet us here on the beach this afternoon. I forgot all about that. But let's finish the review of chapter 1 first, okay? All right, where were we? We were in the numbers. And the numbers are pretty simple. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, you remember those. But those are also key for learning 20, 30, 40, 50, and 200, 300, 400, 500. That's why we're doing all the numbers now, because it's covered in chapter 3. We're just going to hit all the numbers now so we don't have to fool with it later on. So, we've got the numbers from 1 to 30, okay? And you see, they're all one word. One word. When you come to 15, it's quince. It's quince, all right? But when you get to 16, now it's a 10 plus 6, 16. Up to 19, 17, 18, 19, all right? And then 20, 20, and now you're just adding 1 to each one with the 20. 21, 22, 23. But remember, it's one word. It's one word. Okay. So moving along, from 30, okay, we move into 40. And now we're going to use 3 words. 31, 32. And then you move to 40, 50, 60, and so on up. What also is important is that you remember 3, 3. 30, the same sound. 3, 4, 40. Okay, 5, 50, 6, 60. Get those sounds in your brain and you won't have any trouble with the numbers. Moving to the hundreds, 100, 100. But now we have 101. Ciento, we add the to to the 100 to make it 101. So 100 is 100, but 101, there's no E there, is 101. 200, remember now it's dos. Cientos, because it's plural. 300, 400, you get the idea there. Dos, tres, cuatro. But 500 is a little different. 500 with a Q, just like quince. But the sound again, get used to the sound. 600, like seis. 700, like siete, only it's sete. Just like ocho, ochocientos, nobe, like noventa, novecientos, and mil. Mil is 1,000. There's no plural for mil. It's just mil. If you want to say 2,000, it's dos mil, cinco mil. Moving to the millions, it's millón. But millón is a plural for more than 1 million. You say un millón for 1 million, but you say dos millones for 2 million. Cinco millones, and so on up the line. Moving along.
Me voy para
Subject pronoun. Hang on just a second. María, sí vengo enseguida, sí. 5 minutos más, okay? I'm sorry, she's saying, hurry up. I'm doing the best I can. So let's just finish chapter 1, yes? Subject pronouns. What are subject pronouns? Well, they're pronouns that go with the subjects of a verb. When you say go, you've got to say something like I go, or you go, or he goes, or she goes. So we use I, or he, or she. These are our pronouns in English. In Spanish, it's yo and tú, and there's also a you formal, which is usted, okay? And in the singular, we have él for he and ella for she. In Spanish, they don't have an it's. That is to say, there's no word that is it's just you say es. For example, it's Tuesday, es martes. Or it's tall, es alto. All right? That's your it's. So there's a he and a she, and there's also an it's. All right? On the plural side, nosotros is we. There's also a nosotras, which means all girls. Okay, nosotras vamos a la playa esta tarde. All right. So those are the pronouns. All right? Using these pronouns with verbs. Soy, I am. Eres, you are. Él es, he is. Ella es, she is. Plural. Somos. We are students. Somos estudiantes. They are. Ellos, masculine. Ellas, feminine. So, ellas son, they are. If I said they are boys, ellos son muchachos. But if I said they are girls, ellas son muchachas, or ellas son chicas. Okay? And I put an atención here because we're saying vosotros. You'll see vosotros used in some countries, but primarily it's used in Spain. They use the verb form in Spain, but we don't use it south of our borders here. Mexico, Centroamérica, and América del Sur, South America. We don't use the vosotros form generally. You'll hear versions of it in Argentina, maybe vos, okay? But generally, the vosotros form is not used. So, moving along, okay? When is used the verb ser? When is ser used? Well, it's used to describe a nationality. Soy estadounidense. I'm from the United States. Soy americano. Okay? It's used for professions and occupations. Soy profesor. And as the chart says, Adela es agente de viajes. She's a travel agent. Okay? Francisco es médico. He's a doctor. Okay? It's used for characteristics of people and things. Any kind of description. He's tall. Es alto. She's short. Ella es baja. He's intelligent. Es inteligente. Generalizations. Today's Tuesday. Hoy es martes. Tomorrow's Wednesday. Mañana es miércoles. Okay? So, moving along to possession. All right, possession is different in Spanish. There is no apostrophe S. When we say Bob's book, okay, or John's car, that's an apostrophe S in English. But in Spanish, we use the word de. And you see here, possession, okay, es la pluma de Jimena. It's Jimena's pen, okay? Or son las llaves del Señor Díaz, okay? They are the keys of Mr. Diaz, or they're Mr. Diaz's keys. So you've got to remember that. There's no apostrophe S, okay? It's just simply de. We use de. For example, when we say history class, we say la clase de historia. What something is made out of. Por ejemplo, este es de plástico. This is plastic. Yes? Plástico. Es de metal. It's metal. Okay? Es de papel. It's made out of paper. Bien, es. Time and date. ¿Qué hora es? Son las 5.
Vamos pa'l chepe.
Sí, María, sí, vengo. Yes, I'm coming. Oddly enough, we're getting late. Yes, okay. Sí, okay. Time and date. Hoy es el 5 de junio. Hoy es el 4 de julio. And then finally, where or when an event takes place, which is a little more confusing, okay? Because we'll use estar then also, but we'll get into that in later chapters. So you see, el partido, the match, the game, okay, is in the Santa Fe Stadium. Está, but we would say, es en el Estadio Santa Fe, or la conferencia es a las 7. So, hopefully this has been helpful for chapter 1 to bring it all back into your memory. Gracias. Adiós. Ha sido un placer. Dios te bendiga.